Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm Charles Morse, happy to be with you. Normally at this time you would be seeing Dr. Robinson, but Dr. Robinson is having some families, I should say, some problems, issues, and that he's taking care of, and we're keeping him in our prayers. He's actually on the road right now. But I want to say happy summer to you, right? Summer, right? Happy summer. No, happy Friday. I'm Charles Morris. Welcome to the Journey 2020. And as Dr. Robinson would say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me, and so we can take ourselves to a higher level. And I have a special guest with me here today. And as another guest coming in, but that's okay. Just come on. But that's the wonderful part of live television. But so I can introduce myself and kind of get off me so this person can do what she needs to do. We're going to go to our guest, Briana Daniel. And I met you through, I want to call him Mr. Hooper, through Right Brain Media. And I'm kind of throwing myself off a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to come back to where we should be. You're watching the Journey 2020. And later on in the show, Pastor Jenkins is going to be coming in. And if you watch the show, you know Pastor Jenkins is the pastor of True Vine Baptist Church, and he's my pastor. And I wanted to do the show on the different spirits, and that we really don't too much talk about. But in addition, I wanted to talk about this spirit, Briana, because of the wonderful things that you do. And I wanted the pastor to kind of talk about who we are spirit-wise, but also where you think your spirit come from. But I'm going to let you introduce yourself so you can tell the people about the wonderful things that you're doing, so I can stop sounding like an idiot right now. Okay? Let people know that you're actually here. So say hi to the people out there.
Hey everybody, I'm Briana Daniel. I'm the executive director of the Street Team Movement here in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, and so you got to tell us what, you just can't say, you got to tell us what that is.
Well, the Street Team Movement is a nonprofit organization that is here. We are focusing on the homeless community, mainly in downtown Orlando. We've been in operation a little over a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in November. Just exciting.
Okay, but no. Now you got to go ahead. You're leaving out. It's just like I got to pull this out of you. Tell us what you do.
Well, the mission of the Street Team Movement is to provide laundry services, showers, remedial aid, and a higher quality of mindfulness, which is mental health services. So the main goal of the Street Team Movement is to restore hope to our homeless friends that are out in the streets, just kind of battling the different things they're battling every day.
Oh, okay, I'm slowly getting myself together here.
Yeah.
Okay. When you talk about that, because I know what you do, and see, the way that you talk about it is like, well, I just go out and I just give people sandwiches.
No, we don't.
No. Well, you actually do that too. In addition to helping them with food and everything else. But you provide a great service to a great deal of many people. And it's not just the laundry, but even though that is what you do.
Right.
Even though I don't know if I told you this. You know what? I think I did. I told somebody what you do, and they wanted to give you some money. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. But because every time I tell somebody what you do, they always look at me. They kind of like, really? Because they're always so impressed. Because where did you get that idea from? I mean, where did that come from? Because because when this is kind of like off the cuff a little bit. Okay, this is a little off the cuff. But I was talking to an old girlfriend. Okay. And this was when I was in college, because when you're in college, it's kind of like carefree, and you young and you're carefree. So years later, I'm sitting there and I'm talking to her because I was going to school in Daytona, and the season was over as far as basketball and everything. So the college and the coach was no longer responsible for you, but you had your ties into being there in the city. That's where you were used to being. Plus, I was hanging out with my girlfriend, and I certainly didn't want to come home to Jacksonville. I mean, you know. And I said, where did I used to do my laundry? Because I was basically kind of sleeping in her car, and I'm trying to think, where did I keep my stuff? Where did I take a bath? And all of that stuff, and like, where did I brush my teeth? And I couldn't remember. I kind of remember her doing my laundry a little bit. So I say that to think about, I was thinking about like my laundry, like who really thinks about laundry? So, you know, I said, just thinking about that. It's like, where did I do my laundry? So how did you come up with that idea?
It seems random, but it's honestly, it was a God-given vision. And I was woken out of my sleep, audible voice of God. You know, he's pretty much laid the whole plan out, just laid out the first steps, laid out, you know, pretty much strategically placed people in my life who I need to talk to kind of get this ball rolling. And it just, the way it unfolded was nothing short of just out of the hand of God. Right. 100%. Just the vision is not something that I could think up at all. It's not something that I would care to think up. And when he laid it out, there were no specifics given. It was, this is what you need to do. Okay. This is a group of people that need help now. How are we going to help them? Okay. So I ended up going homeless for a month, 2 weeks at a time. And in doing that, that's how do I do my laundry? Where do I take a shower? Deodorant, soap, toothpaste, where does that come from? Who gives me that? You know, things that no one normally thinks about until you're given that situation. That's when you realize that, yeah, this is a problem. This is a need within it, a greater need. Okay, because see, there's some people right now that's watching, because how tall are you? About 5? I'm 5'3". 5'3". You're about 5'3" and about 100 and what pounds? 120 pounds. About 120 pounds. And you decided that you want to go out there and live among the homeless. Say yes. Say yes. Yes. Okay. That's now, I mean, I get that, but there are a lot of people who gonna look at you like, what you've been smoking, what you've been drinking, and what did your parents say when you told them, or if you did, that you were going to do that? Yeah, exactly. They just found out recently. Oh, so you did a podcast interview and they heard it and they were like, "You did what?" Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry, Mom. So you didn't tell them that you was gonna, you know, no. Smart idea. I think because, well, let's go to, what did they say to you once they found out? Just shock and awe. Honestly, it's been, since doing that, it's been so long. I mean, you don't really yell at someone after that. It's been a minute. So they haven't really, I think they weren't disappointed. Okay. You know, they weren't disappointed. I didn't tell them because I didn't want to have to try to convince them. Right. Of. All right. I got. I mean, yeah. I mean. Of course, who would want their daughter to be living among the homeless, especially at this day and time, because it's crazy out there. So let's go back to that first night or the first couple of nights. How was it, and how did you feel safe wise? I mean, how did you deal with it? Why don't you walk us through that whole time? I remember the first night. Almost very vividly. I didn't sleep. I was really nervous. Right. Because I realized this is great. You have all this passion and all this just determination and motivation. You're ready to go out there, and then it gets dark. That's funny. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, it's dark. Like, this is dark. So, and you can't just fall asleep anywhere. You know, you talk to people and you ask them, so where do you stay at? Where do you know? In so many words, you know. You'll hear some things where you can sleep, where you can't sleep. Cops will come look around. If they find you sleeping, you go to jail for camping. Like, you can't just fall asleep anywhere. So you got to strategically plan where you're going to go at night if someone isn't already there at night. Okay, so
let's go back to your plan, as in how you were going to handle this and how you were going to protect yourself. Let's start there. What was your plan when you go, well, okay, I'm going among the homeless to try and see what this is like, to get some feedback, and then what was your thoughts on protecting yourself? Because that's the first thing people think about when you say that, and want to hear what you were thinking about.
Right.
Okay.
As far as weapons go, I just kept it really simple. Just a few small knives that are just on me.
Okay.
And not anywhere near my stuff, somewhere that I can quickly grab and no one else will touch it. Okay. I didn't want to bring any sort of firearms into the situation, just kind of make a bad situation worse. I just feel that's just the wrong way to go.
Okay.
I have a pretty strong martial arts background, so going in there confidently was not really, that wasn't really the problem at all. And you take it as it comes, you can't prepare for something because you don't know what to prepare for.
Right.
This isn't just camping. This is, you never know what's going to happen. Right. You don't know who's going to come at you at any time. It could be while you're sleeping. It could be while you're trying to get food. It could be just during the day walking down the street, They'll see your size, they see you're female, they see you're small, they see all these, and you have to start thinking kind of like how everyone else would view you. Okay. And what angles would they try to come at. Okay. And to stay a few steps ahead of people, and that was just the battle plan. That was it. So
now I get what you just said. A lot of people don't, because they don't know how to step into that room you just stepped. Room that you're in, a lot of females would, actually a lot of males would know how to step into that room. It's easy. It's easy to understand, especially understanding the martial arts part and understanding that you do have a certain amount of control over certain things, and fear is probably your worst enemy. With that being said, what was your first encounter out there, and you saw the look in somebody's eyes going,
I was actually at the mission. I was at the mission and I was standing in line, and someone mentioned, we haven't seen you out here before.
Right. Okay.
Almost like, and I was looking around and I realized I looked too clean. I looked way too clean, and little red flags are going off in my head, and I'm just like, oh, I just got here from out of town, yada yada yada, just trying to throw people off, kind of sort of. But I could tell there's, right. They're like, oh, you're new, which means you don't know the area. So there's like pitfalls everywhere. Right. There's pitfalls absolutely everywhere. It's like swimming, like a fish in a shark tank. It's just crazy. Right. And you have to, it's just being quick on your feet. It's being really quick on your feet, and like I said, having that control over your emotions and having control over the whole situation is so key. Right. So key.
The funny thing is that even though we've talked, but we never really talked about that. The conversation we're having now, because you told me about it, but we never really talked about it. And now that I'm hearing you, I'll be like, I'm surprised that I didn't ask you more questions with the first time you told me that you went out there and you was hanging out with the homeless, because I can remember it's, again, I'm thinking back when I was young and I was going to school. Now I'm not in Daytona anymore. I'm up in Boston, so I'm up in Boston, but I used to catch the train, and I used to go back and forth between New York and Boston a lot. So the time that I was in New York, I'm just hanging out there when it's like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm just hanging out with the homeless, just hanging out. Now, I'm young. They're all laying back on the grass. I'm near Times Square. Penn Station. I'm laying back, looking at the stars, because I'm young, not realizing that I'm with, somebody could have come up and stabbed me, whatever, But I'm naive, but I wasn't afraid. I talked with people. We was talking back and forth. But would I do that now? I don't know. But what I'm saying was, a lot of stuff didn't, whether I was naive or whatever, when I was out there in New York City among the homeless, there near the Penn Station, I was just, enjoying myself. But my mindset, I didn't have a fear. Now, I don't know if that was a good thing. I don't know if that was a bad thing. But God watched over me. Let me start there, because I didn't have any bad experiences, anything like that. And the type of experiences that I did have, it wasn't like that. It was other experiences of when I was riding on the train, when a homeless guy was trying to get on the train and he wanted to hide underneath my luggage, and for me to help him, that kind of stuff, But there's some other stuff, but nothing as far as stories of having encounters with people, But with that being said, now you go through that experience. What was the next move, or what did you learn to help you take the next step of what you wanted to do?
Well, mainly going homeless was just to determine what the real need is.
Okay.
Realizing I couldn't go out there, with a clipboard and
hey, dude, what's your name? Where you from? Right.
What do you need?
Right,
Let me write it down and see exactly what I can do to help you.
Right.
No, it doesn't work like that. It's the real world.
Right.
Everyone's gonna list money, a house, a car,
right,
wife, kids, dog, picket fence.
Right.
Something so unrealistic. Like what's realistic that can help you tangible right now?
Okay.
And that's how we determined it. And originally we started with just three focuses.
Okay.
And it was the showers, laundry, remedial aid. And remedial aid is basically those things that keep our friends hygienically safe while they're on the streets. So you're looking at feminine products, dental hygiene, soap, rags, socks, clothes, shoes, whatever.
Okay.
If you name it, if you can have it inside of the house and use it and it makes your life easier, you're probably going to need it out in the streets.
Okay.
Sunscreen's really big. Cold towels right now. It's hot. It's 90 plus degrees. We're going to the triple digits. Cold towels.
Okay.
Always awesome.
Okay.
Water.
Right.
Water.
Okay.
They have a water fountain. It's the public water fountain. There's 2 of them out in the main area of the park in downtown, and it's pretty disgusting. If you want to go into a store, you have to buy something if you just want water.
Okay.
Even just from the machines.
Okay.
It's crazy. So to be able to take something and create 4 different levels, 4 different programs, if you'll have it, and just apply it to our friends' everyday life, it makes an impact. It totally makes an impact.
Now, when I first met you, you were out there how many days a week?
I was out there 6.
You were out there 6 days a week.
6 days a week, yeah.
How many days are you out there now?
Now I'm at 4.
Thank you.
It's getting burnt out.
Yeah, we kind of,
School and work,
you need a little bit of time to yourself. You was out there 6 days a week. So take us through those 6 days a week, starting off with what, Monday? Monday. Okay.
Well, back then we did laundry on Mondays. Now we do laundry on Tuesday nights.
Okay.
So we had to switch our schedule up a little bit. But back then we did Monday and Thursday was laundry days. So we would go, and it was Monday morning from, I think we did it at 10. It was 10 in the morning to I think 1. We used to do it, and we just show up to the laundromat and we talk to the owner, and he's really cool, and he gives us a time slot, and he lets us use it then. And we do appointments, so you'll make an appointment, you keep your appointment, you show up at your appointment time. We have pretty much the location, the resources, everything that you need to get your laundry done. You just show up and we will walk you through the process of doing your own laundry.
Okay.
We don't do it for them. You've seen it.
Right.
On Tuesdays, we did remedial aid pass outs. So Tuesdays, we did remedial aid behind one of the churches where they'll do what they call a food share.
Right.
And it's essentially a group, an organization will come out and they'll provide a meal, which will then on Tuesday nights it's dinner. So we partner with that organization, and as they provided the food, we provided the remedial aid and passed out different items, and as well as made laundry appointments. Wednesday, same thing, except it was during the day. So we did backpacks. So just get some book bags, load them up with stuff, razors, whatever, you can kind of toss in a book bag, clipboard, of course, for laundry appointments, and just walk around and passing out things. And Wednesdays, as well as we did it on Fridays too, is so key because it's just building a relationship. And now you know people's story, you know people's first and last names, you know some of the things and the challenges and the struggles that they're going through, and that's where the relationship just comes into play. And that's why it's such a huge thing that you're not, you mentioned earlier, you're not just doing laundry. It's something so much deeper that you're giving somebody. And Thursday, once again, it was laundry mornings, so we did laundry from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. again on Thursdays, and sometimes afterwards, if I had the energy, which was normally a lot, I would go out with the book bag and just kind of, make some more rounds, pass out some more things, and build those relationships and cultivate them and grow them. And Friday, same thing, remedial aid, pass out. Saturdays, another food share, so morning food shares. They would pass out breakfast, and we would come and pass out the remedial aid. Clothes mainly was on Saturdays because more people were there. It's a giant group, so we passed out a lot of clothes. Sunday was my day of rest, so.
Wow.
That's what that was.
Yeah, when I met you, I was just tired just listening to you just tell me how many days you were out there. I was like, wow, that's really something. Yeah. Yeah. Now, talk about walking around with the clipboard when you're trying to get the appointments.
That's always fun.
Right.
Now, normally you've been to the food shares,
right,
and you are dealing with a crowd of people. During the day, it's chaos. During the night, it's even worse. And you have a crowd of between 100 and 200 people in one parking lot. And you're getting food. Some people have already ate. Some people haven't ate yet. Some people are coming. People are going. There's movement everywhere. Everyone's calling your name. The longer I was out there, the more I realized, the popularity just kind of skyrocketed. It was nuts. Now I don't go downtown without running into at least 10 of our friends, just out and about. And being at a food share, you're just getting pulled every which way. Volunteers need you. Staff needs you. Someone that we're helping everyone needs you. So walking around with the clipboard, people are throwing out, names and stuff like that, and we're trying to write down, all right, you need this, you need socks, you need shoes, your name is what again? Spell that for me. Make sure you spell it right. And, what time is your appointment? You want a Thursday? Okay, Thursday morning at what time? Okay, your name is what? Don't walk away. Okay, here it is. Do you have a number I can reach you at? I got to make sure I can get your number so I can reach you later. I want to confirm your appointment if you do have a number. If not, we have reminder cards that just kind of have the address on it, has our phone number listed on it, has a nice positive piece for our friends. So we write the appointment time and date down. There you are. If you can't keep your appointment, call the number, text, email, whatever it is you got to do.
Yeah. They know you very, very well out there. They know you very well.
That happens.
No. Yeah. I can. You can tell. Yeah. Now let me ask you. Now, knowing their challenges that they face, how difficult is it or was it to teach the importance of keeping the appointment or being on time? How difficult is that challenge?
Now it's pretty smooth.
Okay.
Because word has got out, if you miss your appointment, Bree will find you. That is the word on the street. I don't know where they got it from. I might have started that rumor. But when you initially, I remember the first few weeks when we started it, we launched it, and I think we had 9 appointments on the first Monday. And we're there, and I'm there, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting,
right,
and I'm still waiting, and nobody showed up.
Wow.
And there were times within the first, it took about 2 months for it to kind of even out. Because I had to realize that it wasn't just a trust issue for me, it was a trust issue for our friends.
Right.
The homeless individuals that we're helping, it was, how do I know you're going to show up?
Right.
How do I know I'm not wasting my time?
Right. I got that. Right.
And literally it broke your spirit a little bit, just a little bit. And I went home. I remember one night I went home and I prayed, and God, just the word came, and it was, just keep showing up.
Right.
If no one's there, you stay from 11 to 1. You stay the time you say that you're going to be there. It doesn't matter if nobody shows up. You show up, and you be there when you say you're going to be there. And now we have 50 people on Tuesday nights. We have like 35, 40 people on Thursday mornings. Tons of walk-ins. The system's way more organized now. About 90% of the people that make their appointments keep them. what's now is even more shocking. If you don't keep your appointment, someone will call or text and let me know, hey, I can't make my appointment. Can you give that spot to someone else that needs it?
Okay.
Now you're fostering, like, it's not fostering dependency, it's now just putting an independent, just a small piece of independence back into someone's life.
Right.
Because these are the job skills you're going to need.
Right.
If you have a job and you're not used to showing up anywhere on time and you're used to everyone being whenever you show up and on your schedule, now this is bringing order and structure into your life and into a time where you have to be at this place at this time for at least an hour. Because it takes about 30 minutes to wash and 30 minutes to dry. You got to, fold your clothes and all this other fun stuff. But yeah, you are making a choice. And now we have people that on Thursdays and some people on Tuesdays that make a set appointment. Haven't missed appointments for weeks. We have one gentleman, Don, who has not missed an appointment for 11 weeks straight. He comes every Thursday at 8:30. He is there. He is fantastic. Prompt, on time. He comes early. His appointment is at 8:30. He shows up at 8 just because. And he will stand and stare and look and say, I'm checking in. And I said, all right, Don, you're on the list. Good. It's perfect. It's perfect. We even have the other day, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we had a gentleman and he called me on Wednesday night. We do laundry Thursday morning, now at 8 o'clock. Really early. But we do it at 8 o'clock now. And he called and he said, hey, I want to cancel my appointment. And I was like, oh, why do you want to cancel your appointment? He's like, well, I got some work, so I can afford to pay for my laundry this week. So you give my spot away to someone that needs it. Okay. And right then, if anyone else ever did that, that was a success. For me, I was like, whoa. Right. This is what success looks like. This is what's all of that, everything was worth it. Right. In that moment, I realized, I was like, whoa, okay. People are grasping it. Right. You still have some people that don't appreciate it. They won't say thank you. They show up when they want, I've been yelled at, cussed out, bleach thrown on me, whatever. It's so fun. I love it. But yeah. That one, out of all the many, there's one. There's tons of people that say thank you. There's tons of people that have canceled their appointment. But for someone to cancel it because I don't want to be dependent on what you're doing, that I want to be elevated out of this situation, right? That is literally the whole goal of the street team movement. Just manifest it. Right there.
Talk about, your day usually starts at about what time when you get up in the morning?
Now they start about 6. Normally about 6.
About 6.
Get up and go to the gym. I do my devotional. So I got to carve out, definitely got to carve out time for that. Got to make sure, God is priority. He's president. Right. So definitely keep him first. And going in to the day now, sometimes I work mornings. If I know Tuesday mornings I work, so I work from 9:30 until about 5 or 6:30, and then I just head straight in the laundry at 7 and stay there until about 10:30 p.m. So it's pretty long days, and then just doing the same thing the next time.
Okay, now as far as your volunteers, how many did you start out with, and how many do you have now?
Volunteers, that's awesome. We started out with just me. And about a month in, it was still just me. All right. And now we have people from my church involved. We have friends involved. Family gets involved. My boyfriend's involved. It just grew. So now we have about 15. We have 10 absolute loyal volunteers. And we have about 15 to 20 just flex volunteers. That if they're available, they'll come. And that's just how we run that.
Now, you're now out there 4 days out of the week, right? So the days are when?
Now it's Monday mornings. So normally I'm off. My days off are Monday and Wednesday, and I normally use all of Monday to fill it with meetings. I have a set 9 a.m. meeting every Monday morning with Dwight. I'm in his office religiously every Monday. And in between my meetings, I usually have one at 9, one at 1, 9, 12, 1, and then another one at 6. And then I try to fill like other little meetings in between. Between that, I'm out on the streets with my book bag and making sure I'm walking around, making appointments, making sure I'm walking around. It's kind of, now it's less about making appointments and building that relationship as much as maintaining that relationship. Okay. Just being out there and just kind of, connecting with everybody. So Mondays, Tuesdays, laundry, Thursdays, laundry, and Saturdays, food shares.
Okay. Yeah. Well, again, everyone, I'm Charles Morse. Welcome to the Journey 2020. I'm sitting here talking with Briana Daniel, and when you're talking about the different spirits, and if you've been watching and listening to her, you're trying to figure out, like, here she is, she's out. She started out 6 days a week. You feed the homeless. You make sure that they do laundry. You give them water. You give them clothes too, right?
Mm-hmm. Clothes.
Toothpaste. What are some of the other things that you provide for them?
Oh man, ponchos. We did a poncho drive, and we just pretty much blasted all of our social media, our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hey, we need ponchos. It's raining. It's been raining a whole lot this year.
Right.
So ponchos are just essential.
Right.
When you carry your entire life on your back, it's
okay. Now, what's the difference? What's the difference between summer and winter, as far as the services that you provide, other than the laundry? Because you do the laundry. I mean, that's year round.
That's year round.
But what's the difference between winter and summer?
Remedial aid switches up during the summer and the winter. During the winter, we provide more blankets, more coats, jackets, sweaters, all that, and make sure you're doubling up layers, making sure you're layering up, more tank tops, t-shirts, undergarments. We push those really, really hard. Sometimes during the summer we hang on to those just so when the winter comes we know it's going to be harsh. Even in Central Florida, I mean, it doesn't really get that cold. I think
yes, it does.
The lowest day last year.
No, don't be. No, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Because people really get fooled about Florida weather. What they don't understand is it will get cold in Florida. It will drop down in the teens.
It does.
It'll only stay for a day or two, then it warms back up.
Right. But that day or two is essential, and it is so pivotal when you're staying on the street. When you are out there 24 hours for the whole day and not hopping in and out of your hot building or your warm car, and you're just kind of get, just glances of what's really the bigger picture of what's going on. And so we make sure we provide those things.
Well, let me see if I can set this up. Okay. The reason why I wanted to do this show was because I wanted to have her come in, and I wanted to share her spirit. But I asked Pastor Jenkins to come in because we've been talking about what's been happening with the Confederate flag. We've been talking about South Carolina. And my question that I've always, I guess, asked or wanted to ask, and Pastor Jenkins is here now, hearing about her spirit, Pastor, and the different spirits that we all have. But why? See how I can ask this question. Let me ask you like this. Do you think we as a culture, as a society, are we naive to the actual spirits that are among us each and every day? And does the church do enough, or do you think the church should do more in the teachings? I guess that's kind of like a two-part question, because the spirits that are among us, like for an example, that young man that sat there, and he was there, and for whatever reason, whatever spirit that was, says a lot. So I would like, if you can, because we were just talking about her and her spirit, and your spirit, my spirit. I don't have that type of spirit, but those spirits are there. And can you kind of help us what it says biblically about our spirits in general?
Well, the Bible speaks of spirits in terms of there's a spirit of error. First of all, thank you for having me. Good evening. Hello, Briana. God bless you. Good to meet you. And I applaud you for your efforts.
Thank you.
Yeah, it speaks of spirit of error in 1 John, whereas many of us may think we're right about certain things. That's among us. And then, of course, John also encourages the believers to try the Spirit by the Word of God. There are and have been many a plethora of spirits among us. I mean, spirits were here before the actual material flesh was here. So, but
Now, see now, you got to. I mean, you got to kind of break that down a little bit because we kind of naive on what you just said.
Adam and Eve were created.
Okay.
And so heaven, Christ, God, they were already in existence. Matter of fact, animals were here before man. Man was created, and it was so you had the spiritual element of existence already in play before man was actually created and placed into the earth. So you had the spiritual format of life, or the spiritual entity of life already existing before the flesh and material life were even formed.
Well, and I guess what I'm trying to talk about are the different spirits, because you can be anywhere and a person could walk in the room and all of a sudden the dynamics of the room changes.
Well, Paul said, and he warned the people, and it's a verse that, and I can't speculate as far as the churches or the pastors. I don't like to do that, because first of all, I don't listen to every pastor, I don't listen to every church, I don't listen to every evangelist. But what I do hear, I guess the messages or that are always highlighted, has to do with being debt free, or has to do with those things. But Ephesians 6:12, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness and principality in high places. Paul said that. And as far as what we're doing today, what I see, and I haven't necessarily weighed in on anything, I'm more in the observant mode, is that we're looking at everything except the spiritual element.
Right.
We're looking at color. We're looking at ethnicities. We're looking at, not to say those things should be ignored.
But that's my point, as in, like, maybe that's the spirit that's making the light flicker back. But that's what I'm trying to get at, as why, I guess it shouldn't be a why, but should we be taught more about the different spirits that are among us? Because I don't think that we pay much attention to it or equip ourselves to deal with everyday life of what we're dealing with, because we just don't.
And we don't, because a lot of times we don't have that fellowship with God to get that revelation, to have that understanding, to get that awareness. I mean, you look at the situation in Charleston, South Carolina. The young man said he wanted to start a race war, and he wanted to kill blacks. Well, I can guarantee you there were more blacks at the pool hall than there was in Bible study at night. There were more more blacks in a club than there were in Bible study at night. So if you really want to kill blacks, so it wasn't about the color. It was the spirit that, like you said, that drew him, that initiated this type of hate, and it all goes back to God. The initial hate is toward God, and not necessarily the person or the people. But yeah, we are we can be blind to what's going on around us. Many of us are ignorant as to the spiritual warfare that is already engulfed around us. But it goes like the fellowship, Bible study, becoming aware, understanding this. That there is a spiritual warfare. And when I look at it, and I look at the news, I see it. But like I say, I'm reading my Bible every day. I'm praying to God for certain discernments and revelations, so that I'm better equipped. Because Ephesians teaches me to equip the saints for the work of the ministry. So yes, pastors, spiritual leaders should be in the mindset of equipping the saints, as the Bible says, that we are to do for the work of the ministry. What this young lady here is doing, and others that I know that's similar to that, it should be incumbent upon us to let's equip this young lady spiritually. She already have the heart of God. She already has the heart to give and to sacrifice and to see others be exalted, before herself. So it'd be great, as her spiritual leaders, to continue to feed her spirit, because I'm sure she runs into things that are spiritually in nature. And I can't say I'm just met her, so she may or may not recognize it.
Right. Well, the funny thing is that when I first met her, and I don't, she can agree or disagree, but I kind of had a conversation, and I said to her, you need to slow down a little bit, because what you're dealing with, you're going to get burned out for the simple fact that you're facing these certain type of things, and you just need to slow down a little bit. So, and I don't know, because about 2 or 3 weeks later, you said you were going to take a little bit of time off, and then I don't know, but then you went versus 6 days. Now you're at 4, because she's such a young person. She's doing so much. You can see you can be burned out after. I mean, that's just my opinion, because you feel a spirit and you see just how enthused she is, and you just don't want her to get to that point where you get here and then you be like, you know. So, but that was just my opinion, because being as old as I am, not that I know anything at all, that can happen to you. You know, because you always got all this stuff coming at you, always got this stuff coming at you. And just like you said, out of maybe the 50 that you deal with, you had that one that called you and said, I want to give my slot to somebody else simply because I want to do for myself. And I thank you for what you did for me, but now I need to do for myself. I'm putting myself in a better position, give my time to somebody else. So it'd be great if out of the 50, you had 20 of those, but you probably may only have 2, you know. So I'm saying that's how it works sometimes. But Pastor, we were just talking, I was just talking with France the other day, and we were talking about the churches, and they're always talking about the tail versus the head. You know, and there's as if though there is a blessing in the tail, but that's not what that's not what a lot of the churches preach. They always talk about the head, never the blessing in the tail, because somebody got to take out the garbage, somebody got to pick up the garbage, you know, somebody got to be the plumber, somebody got to be this, somebody got to be that. But they really don't talk about the blessing of the day, and what the blessing mean is if though you got to always be the head to be blessed.
Yeah. And you know what? I know about being the head and not the tail. And, I preached a sermon some years ago. It's called "Value in the Valley." You know, things that we learn in our valley experiences that we really couldn't learn on a mountaintop. You know, things we learn in our hospital beds that we wouldn't learn if we were sitting behind our desk at our job. So, depending on the classroom, the lesson, you know, what the lesson is. But yeah, I believe it's warranted. It's imperative that we can. Well, we got away from, and I know the intent of many pastors. They want their people to be self-sufficient. They want their people to be able to utilize their gifts, to better manage their resources, and you know, things associated with, you know, successful livings, because when you're in that mode, you know, you can kind of be more available and accessible and just to the service of God. You know, if I manage my bills well, then perhaps I can help Briana in her ministry, and you know, if I'm not, you know, struggling to pay this or whatever, I can give more. So I understand the intent of the pastor to get the people in position to be more useful, to be more resourceful. But sometimes you cross that line, and now you got people just thinking about getting ahead. Right. They're not thinking why I should get ahead. We've lost that message as to why I should be self-sufficient, as to why I should be more manageable with my resources. Now it's just about getting ahead and being comfortable. And so we kind of lost the message in the message. But as far as being able to understand that, hey, you know, the Bible said, you know, that present your bodies as a living sacrifice. God can use me to influence. God can use me to bless. God can use me to impact someone's life, no matter what situation I'm in. Paul said that. Paul said, I've learned, Philippians, I've learned that whatever state I'm in, therewith to be content. Because wherever I am, if I'm the janitor or if I'm the CEO, I'm useful to God. I can be a blessing. I can impact. I can change a life. You know, and it doesn't necessarily matter where I stand industrially, you know, or even economically. You know, that's actually the message that it began But we lost that, and now everybody's just trying to be the CEO.
Yeah. Briana, you wanted to talk about the different spirits, and I know where you, because you're out on the streets, you deal with the homeless, and I know you see a lot of different spirits. You wanted to briefly talk about that?
Yes, actually, it's pretty much just as you said. We give a word of caution to our volunteers to make sure that you are just spiritually ready when you go out there, because we are not saying we're not allowed to have bad days, but you need to check your spirit before you go out there, because it is spiritual warfare and manifesting in a physical way on a group of people. And if you don't go out there with, just fully prayed up and just ready for it with your eyes open, as you said, slow down, and don't just, we're not just doing laundry, guys. Open your eyes. We're not just passing out razors. Open your eyes. See what's really happening. See what spirits are going on around here. Who can you grab and pray with? They're telling you about, oh yeah, I gotta go and sit in line and go get my ID or go and try to apply for a job. What are they really saying to you? Be open and be receptive to what the Holy Spirit is trying to say to you through them. And it's just and we just drill it into our volunteers' head. Hey guys, look, pray before you come out here. Hey, don't come out here harboring any ill intent. If you're too tired to come out here, please just don't come. You would do us way better of a service not coming at all than coming and then bringing a nasty spirit in an already dirty element.
Pastor, I'm going to ask, I've never asked you this before, but have you ever encountered or you've ever felt in your presence that just not a good spirit? Well, especially because of what you do and where you work. Have you ever encountered that?
Oh, yes. I work in the jail. Yes. I had an experience that prepared me for my walk, even before I truly embraced Christ, before I truly embraced the ministry. I wasn't called to ministry by this time, but a young man who had grown up in the church. So I was a church boy, but I hadn't, and I experienced this man came into the jail as a volunteer chaplain. And back then, the chaplains, they gave out the assignments in the jail as you come. So if you're the last chaplain, it's a good chance you're going to get the worst area of the jail to go. And this gentleman, obviously ignorant to this little chaplain culture, he comes in and they gave him an area that was considered to be the worst particular area. And he came in, he was so humble. And when I saw his orders, I'm like, wow, you going? I'm looking at him like, wow, buddy, you picked the short straw. These guys are here hanging off the lights, they just crazy, And he said, it's okay. And he said, could you direct me to my post? And I was like, over there. I said, boy, let me get some officers to go with you. And he said, no, it's okay. So I'm looking, and I walked in there, and he go, and I had to calm everybody down. Here's your chaplain services. This is giving the instructions, and you hear some things being said, and he's just standing there. And I looked at him. I said, "You sure I'm gonna get nobody?" He said, "No." He walks in. He said, "Could you close the door?" And I'm looking at him like, "Look, man, these cats here, they'll eat they'll eat you up and spit you out." Closed the door and walked away. About 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, I thought about him. Oh, let me go check on this guy. Everybody's sitting. These are emotionally aggressive men, all sitting there, stupefied. This man sat there and talked to the point that there were 2 officers there, and one of them was there with tears in her eyes. This man talked, and he exerted authority in a way I had never seen before. And after that, I began to talk with him. I'm talking about really sweat him for information. Right. He gave me some good reading material and those things. But one thing he told me, he said that there's no power like the power of humility, and that shaped my view of being an officer, being a correctional officer, and then going to the ministry. There's no power like the power of humility, And
well, see, now you got to explain that.
Well.
You got to explain that.
All right. Well, Jesus, the Bible said Christ was clothed in humility. He couldn't, put it like this, the devil can't do anything with a humble man and with a humble spirit. He has to puff you up. Like you were saying, having those dirty attitudes, having those nasty attitudes, those haughty attitudes, or whatever. When you get in that mode, then Satan can drive your emotions. But as long as you're humble, he can't do anything with you. That's why he couldn't do anything with Christ. Everybody that erred, every leader in the Bible that erred, it was from an emotional, puffed up state. You know what I'm saying? Solomon and his wisdom and his riches. You know, Moses and his quick temper, his anger. You know, Noah and his desire to just relax, you know, and take a drink. Where everyone Satan was able to trip up was tripped up after they came out of their humility and they were in some type of puffed up emotion. So Christ taught us, and even that's why they didn't like him, because they thought he was going to come swinging a sword, you know, chopping the heads of the Roman soldiers, but he came in humility. And he teaches us in 1 Peter, he said, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, and he will exalt you in due time. You know, so I learned that as I go on. You know, that's the greatest power is in humility, and I think that's what Ron is telling her workers. You don't come out here trying to convey your agenda. You know, this is the agenda you are about. And as they tell in the military, keep your head down, your feet moving. But yeah, as far as experiences, I've been in pods and cells, and where just walking in, and I'm getting chill bumps all over my back, my neck, and just being in the presence of men. And you know, particularly one gentleman, he was a death row inmate, and as a matter of fact, he's still death row, and I had to escort him. And as I go into place the restraint on him, and he said just like you, very cooperative, but he had a look on his face like, you know, if I can kill you, I will. You know, that's a fact. That's who I am. You know, but he just had this aura about him that might chill, and he wasn't like scarily intimidating. I mean, his size and nothing else, but just being around him. And I heard other officers would say the same thing. They go to his cell to pass his food or whatever, and they say they get these chills. You know, so there are people who are so dominated with demonic spirits, right, and possessed demonically.
Can you talk about that for a minute? Because I wanted you to talk about that.
What's that?
The demonic spirits. Yeah.
Yeah. There's things the Latin call familiar spirits. It comes from family. You know, that goes through a family. And that we sometimes encounter men, particularly and women, in the correctional facility where they've had some atrocious upbringing. They've come from families where they literally preyed on each other. If you sat down and hear some of the stories of being, you know, molested by a parent, you know, by this or that, it's just constant over and over through their whole lives. And then here they are now. We got them as adults, and this is all they've had to endure. You know, they've just been tormented over their lives, you know, demonically, until now this thing in them is so fully grown, you know, that it almost permeates from them. You know, and then if you're not spiritually aware, you wouldn't understand, but you know something is up with this person.
But that's part of what I'd wanted to talk about, was being spiritually aware. Your father's a pastor, right?
He's a minister.
Yeah, minister. And his teaching and your teachings, and just talking about that and helping us as a whole to better understand our position, the position that we can be in, and just how do we deal with that on a day-to-day basis, because I think that's part of a lot of the challenges that we face, but we don't look at it that way. You know, from your teaching, how important do you think that is? And I'm going to ask you the same thing.
Vital, because one of the greatest things of the devil, one of his greatest efforts, is to try and get the person to believe that he don't exist. And that's what we're seeing now. Nobody's looking at Satan. They're looking at the color. They're looking at the geographics. They're looking at the East Coast, West Coast. We find every reason to hate each other. We find every reason to discredit each other, except for the fact that, you know, this is Satan manipulating me or manipulating that person.
I'm going to let you answer that, but that's how I kind of looked at it, and maybe you'll understand what I'm going to say, because that's how I looked at it when they talked about the flag. Because to me, the flag waving is the flag waving, but if the flag is in your heart, I need to see that. See, long as the flag is waving outside, I can see that. But if it's waving in your heart,
well, you know what? To take the flag down is only a beginning of a process.
Okay.
And it takes everyone to actually just be honest with ourselves. And you're not seeing that. Excuse me for saying it. But even on both sides, I look at the Caucasian race. If they would only embrace the history of this thing and say, you know what, it was atrocious, it was wrong, there's nothing I can say to try and make it better, there's nothing I can say to try to make excuses, it was inexcusable. It was just say that and let that resonate within them and begin to live according to that. But at the same time, if our black brothers and sisters will look at the present and say there's no excuse for this, this is atrocious, this is asinine. You know, that we can march because a white man killed a black man, but when a black man killed a black man, it doesn't make our conversation in the living room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest with ourselves.
Right.
If we embrace the present, they embrace the past, everybody take accountability, we may have some progress. But the flag being a symbol of what it was, and the only reason, you know, the history of the Confederate, they didn't want to give up their slaves.
Right.
They were telling Lincoln, hey, we'll come join, but hey, we ain't giving up our slaves, and we want to pay our own taxes the way we want to pay it. So that's what caused this whole thing. But I think it's a process.
Yeah, okay.
I agree. And to piggyback off of what you were saying, it's essentially calling a spade a spade. It's essentially calling sin sin, and not trying to dance around the issue, not trying to call it, trying to make these euphemisms for it and just try to make everyone comfortable with it. And that's, Satan's so good about it. He's so good about just dumbing it down and just diluting it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't look like sin anymore. It just looks like, it's a hate crime, or, he was born this way, or, he's not really racist. There's so many other terms for it now, but if you just call it what it is sin. Ultimately.
Right.
Bottom line. It's sin.
Pastor, the times are so different now, and we're kind of just somewhere everywhere. Whether or not we're just talking about what you just said about the black on black crime, or black on white crime, how whether or not we're being taught whether or not the head versus the tail, and the breakdown of the family, and whether or not you're Donald Trump, and so on and so forth, and I guess one of the things that is always said on Sunday is that God is still in control, and then as we try to find answers, God is still in control. But as you said earlier, it's as we get away from the teachings, and as you look to who wakes us up in the morning, who's still in control, as we try to think that we are. We only have about a minute or two left, and I'll just give you the last minute or so in anything that you want to say in reference to what we're talking about.
The process of purification, and if you read the scriptures, embrace the scriptures, a lot of this won't surprise you. Right? It doesn't surprise me, and I'm not even as as deep in the scriptures as I would like to. But what I do know, this doesn't surprise me. The process of purification is to do what? It's to allow the essentials, it's to allow the dirt, the grime, the grit, all of it come to the top so that you can skim it, and that purifies. And in the history of the scriptures, as God will allow sin to rise. He even said the Antichrist would prosper, but because that's the whole, the blacksmith, when he purified the silver, all of the essentials, the elements, had to come to the top. So when we see these things prospering, it's not a time to be disheartened. It's a time really to pray more and more that someone will see, hey, you're playing right into the hands of Satan, because God is allowing all the impurities of man to come to the very top. And at some point, he's going to skim it off.
Well, see, that was one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on, because I want you to get deep into it. So we're going to have to invite you back to come on, because honestly, truly, because again, I don't think that's part of what we really talk about in the sense of the spirits and what's really going on, because we're so into the world about the money and where we live, the kind of car we drive, the kind of shoes we wear, and all those things that are now into the forefront that is now pushing our lives to what we see on TV, what we see in the music, and so on and so forth.
All the sin that God eradicated, dealt with from his wrath, it was always at the top of his game when he dealt with it. Mm-hmm. The Roman Empire was at the top of their game. Hitler was at the top of his game. All of it was at the top of their game when he dealt with it. So when you see these things prospering, and those who don't know will be like, oh, it must be right, must be true, must be the way. No. God is just allowing him to get in position so he can deal with it, because everything he dealt with was at the top of his game when he dealt with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just me.
Go ahead, Briana.
It's perfect. All I have to say is just, get in the Word, stay in the Word, pray without ceasing, and just keep your eyes open.
Right. Well, I would like, Pastor, for you to come back. I'd like for you to come back, man, and then we can really talk about some of the things that you really wanted to, enlighten us, because that's what we see. One of the things that I learned from you, and then the minute you start talking about Scripture and Bible, then people start to look at you a certain way, and but that's part of it. But to take what you can and learn what you can and get from it what you can, to me, that's important. It's not a judgment thing. It's not that you're perfect. It's not that you're going to be perfect. It's just that a lot of the things in which we need to talk about, we don't talk about. The information is not being given the way that it should, and that's just my opinion. I don't know if you remember saying this, but you said this long time ago. You said that your church. Looking at me funny.
See, on Sunday morning, I'm on volume 10. So
See, no, but he said this long time ago. You said that because of your teachings, because you teach, that your church won't be popular, because you teach the word, and you're not about the sparks flying, you're not about the lights, you're not about this, you're not about that, you're about the word. So that's what that is. And so some churches feel as if though you need to have this going and the lights, this and that, this and that, but you're about the word. And that is very true. You remind me so much of Charles Stanley. Charles Stanley reminds me so much of you, and So you're about the word. So you're about the teaching, the biblical principles. And so that is what and that's what I mean is that when you speak, you're going to speak from a biblical point of reference. And so that is the part in which I think we as a whole are missing. Because I think some churches want to bring you in to teach you. They will teach you in the sense of what they think will keep you there. That means they'll give you a little bit of something, but as long as they can entertain you, because just like I know there's some people who say, well, I went to church and I gave my tithes, so I'm good. I'm good. I was there. I heard them sing, and I gave them some money. And by the way, he said something, and he did say Jesus. As a matter of fact, he said Jesus 3 or 4 times. So I'm good. I was there.
As a token, I didn't go to sleep.
There you go. and I was there. And so that's why I really wanted you to come on, and you can get as deep as you want to, as far as you need to, because I may learn something. But I just think that it's important that we hear what you have to say, because I don't think it's really being taught. And when you as you said, God allows, and we need to understand that, because I think it's hard for us to understand that the sun didn't come up just because of you, of me. So once again, any last words as we close out? And I apologize about the lights. I don't know what happened, but that's okay.
That was crazy.
Any?
Thankful. I'm just thankful that we have forums like this to be able to share what God has given me as far as the gospel, to meet people such as Briana, and I'd like to speak with you once this is over about maybe assisting in ministry in some way.
Absolutely.
I have an idea.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to say?
I don't think so.
All right. We will put up your website where people can find out more about you and what you do. And again, how many days, and if they want to volunteer, if they want to give some money, if they want to give some toiletries, some toothpaste, toothbrushes,
Ponchos.
yeah, ponchos, blankets, shoes, socks, underwear, you know.
All that
But
stuff.
yeah, anyway, all right. Dr. Robinson will be back with us next week, and as he would say, the journey is from me to you and from you to me, as we try and go to a higher ground. So we want to thank you for watching, and you have yourself a great weekend.